The appointment of judges to the Supreme Court has come under scrutiny once again after two judges, one sitting and one retired, have raised questions over the change in candidates within just a month. Here's a quick background. On 12th of December last year, the Supreme Court Collegium, that is headed by the Chief Justice of India and the next four senior-most judges, recommended elevating Justice Pradeep Nandrajog and Justice Rajendra Menon to the top court from their respective high courts. The courts then went on winter break, and meanwhile, one of the five judges in the Collegium retired. When the courts reconvened, the Collegium of five had one new member and new recommendations as well. Two other High Court judges have now been elevated, a change that has been taken place in just 1 month. Top judges, retired and current, have questioned this change and asked for transparency. To understand more about this situation and what is really going on, I'm joined now by Justice V.K. Gupta, former Chief Justice of Uttarakhand High Court, and Justice B.G. Kolse Patil, who is of course former judge at the Bombay High Court. Welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for joining us on BloombergQuint. Justice Gupta, just to start with, because not everyone understands the inner workings of the Supreme Court Collegium and how these decisions are made, why is this particular set of decisions of the elevation of these two judges raising so much concern?
This action of the Supreme Court Collegium is raising so much concern because it is unprecedented in more ways than one. First and foremost, in this recommendation, the Collegium has superseded three senior judges of Delhi High Court and recommended a judge who is at number 4 in the seniority of Delhi High Court judges. Out of these three judges, two judges already are occupying the positions of Chief Justices of Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir High Courts. I call it unprecedented because ever since we know of the functioning of the judicial institutions in India, never in the past has an occasion arisen whereby three judges of the same High Court have been superseded, especially when all three of them have totally unblemished service record. They are known to be outstanding judges. They are known to be judges possessed of the highest integrity, and yet they have been superseded. This is absolutely unprecedented. It has never happened before, and we all condemn it.
Those are strong words there. Justice Kolse Patil, of course, in the Delhi High Court context, we're talking about Justice Khanna's elevation. What about Justice Maheshwari? There are questions raised about him as well. A sitting judge has written to the Chief Justice of India. A former judge has written to the Indian President saying that, you know, something must be done. For the common man, can you explain why the appointment of one judge over the other makes such a big difference?
This is, as my brother just said, this is unique case after the Collegium started selecting the judges. Because before that, Chief Justice and Chief Minister, with the consultation of Chief Minister, judges were appointed and there was objection. Now, this Collegium has for the first time a decision taken on 12 December where this Chief Justice was party to that decision. He should follow the procedure of putting that decision in the public domain, communicating it to the government and putting on the website. He did not do it till Justice Lokur retired. Thereafter, he superseded 31 judges and selected 2. That Collegium changed, and he took that opportunity. But actually, I tell you, activists like us treat Supreme Court and High Court judges like gods. They should not have such They should not have taken such steps which are in the public domain. Doesn't look. They are beyond our logic. They are beyond our imagination that the judges have done this. Then the Joseph, who retired, who was telling about the previous Chief Justice, that we felt that he was remote controlled by somebody from outside. Now what this indicates, this collegium's decision, what that indicates? It also indicates that the previous names, one Chief Justice of Rajasthan High Court and Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, were recommended, and the procedure thereafter was not followed by the Chief Justice. Perhaps the reason known to him that after Lokur's retirement, he formed another collegium and recommended other judges, superseding his own decision, superseding the collegium decision, earlier decision of 12 December. 10 December he took. We were very happy when this Chief Justice joined that 12th December 1918 conference, sorry, 2018 conference, and then he was talking about the previous Chief Justice and the system in the Supreme Court. He wanted to keep the democracy alive, and he wanted the country to know what is wrong going on in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Now this Chief Justice has become, thereafter took over, and the things are becoming worse.
Okay, so
we are surprised.
Let me just read out what has been widely reported as coming from the 10th January Supreme Court Collegium meet, given as one of the reasons for this change, where they say by the time the court reopened, the composition of the Collegium underwent a change after extensive deliberations on 5th and 6th of January 2019. The newly constituted collegium deemed it appropriate to have a fresh look at the matter and also to consider the proposals in the light of the additional material that became available. Now, Justice Gupta, some might argue that if the collegium has undergone a change, one judge retired and another one took his place in the interim, and they couldn't go through the process that they should have, they ideally would have a right to relook at the entire matter.
It is very amusing. 5 judges constituted the collegium in December, 1 retired, 1 joined the collegium in January. Out of 5, 4 remained the same persons. The Chief Justice remained the same Chief Justice, yet these 4 persons changed their opinion in a matter of 2 weeks. Is it that the 5th entrant to the collegium, he persuaded all 4 of them that your earlier decision was wrong and you should take this decision? This is absolutely unprecedented. Let me tell you, in the corridors of the bar, motives are being attributed. The people are gossiping in the corridors of bar that this decision has been actuated by extraneous considerations, the considerations of some nature which are not very desirable. Why should the motives be attributed to the Supreme Court Collegium when people are talking that merit is being sacrificed for some other factors? This is very, very unfortunate.
You know, it is also raising the question of seniority. And Justice Patil, let me come to you with this, because when the whole NJAC controversy was taking place, and that debate and argument was taking place. Quick backgrounder here for our viewers. The government of India wanted to bring a new system to select judges to the Supreme Court, which would replace the current collegium system. And part of that proposal was that seniority would not be the only consideration, merit would be the consideration. So, Justice Patil, my question to you is, here the concerns primarily are on the basis of that you've taken the 33rd most senior judge above the 3rd or 4th most senior judge, and seniority has been superseded. Does seniority necessarily have to be the only criteria to choose who gets elevated, and why should it be so? Justice Patil.
let us, in this case, there is the question of merit. Collegium has already taken decision on 12th of December. Chief Justice was party to that. All other 4 judges were party to that. Only one retired, and you cancel that decision, you supersede that decision. So that shows that you did not decide that then merits were not considered. And then what is the material that is damaging their, our Chief Justice is made to cancel that appointment of judges and selected new judges. The main thing is, then also they considered merit, and therefore it is the duty of the Supreme Court to tell in public domain what happened thereafter, and these new judges are selected. Therefore, there is every reason to take doubt that some extraneous elements, where I always say that our judges have powers, judicial powers, more than any other High Court or Supreme Court in the world, and they can take the country to the best of its life. But I don't know why these judges are behaving like this. Even the decisions in Rafael, and even that Sikri who was attending the Alok Verma, we have no answer. We cannot. When I repeatedly say that we treat them as gods, our activists like us there is nobody than the judges, and they take such decisions which are obviously wrong.
I mean, I won't go into whether judgments are wrong or right, because they could be subjective from case to case. But, you know, Justice Verma wanted to come in.
Administrative decision. We have not said anything about judgment.
Okay.
Sikri attended that meeting, and when he was offered some luxurious good position in London, that is not also accepted. That cannot be even digested.
Yes.
One thing. Thereafter he resigned. We are only talking about their administrative decisions. We are not talking about their judicial decisions.
Yes.
Then
Justice Verma, you wanted to come in on the seniority question that I had posed to Justice Patil. So please do go ahead on that.
About seniority, my view is very, very clear. Seniority alone cannot be the deciding factor. Merit and suitability are of paramount consideration. Seniority alone should not weigh in the mind of the collegium in judicial appointments. I am very clear about that. But here is a situation where these 3 judges who have been superseded, they, on ground of merit and suitability, they were outstanding. In the public perception, these 3 judges are eminent in the discharge of their judicial functions. They are possessed of the highest integrity and all those factors which go in making an ideal judge. If the merit and suitability is of paramount consideration, and if merit and suitability are equal, then of course seniority has to prevail. If 2 persons in merit and suitability are equal, then naturally the senior one has to be appointed. Here we have a person who is at number 4, even if he is presumed to be as good as these 3 judges, yet his turn should come after these 3 judges. That is the principle of seniority.
You know, I want to ask a question which perhaps people watching this are also wondering, that why is it such a big deal whether one judge gets in the place of the other? How does it make an impact or a difference to the end result, which is basically the quality of judgments? What is the concern really about? Because I think it's only fair that we explain people who are not involved in, you know, the inner workings of the judiciary, what the true concerns are. And I want to come to Justice Gupta first on that, and then of course Justice Patil. Yes, Mr. Justice Gupta.
My concern is pick and choose. If you start picking and choosing your favorites, ignoring the merit of those who deserve judicial appointments that will erode the independence of judiciary. Picking and choosing favorites or picking and choosing persons on extraneous considerations is tantamount to compromising the independence of judiciary. Whether the collegium does it or the government does it, it is same thing. Therefore, to ensure that picking and choosing is not done, seniority alone as a principle, provided merit and suitability is there, is the best safeguard against compromising of the judicial independence.
Justice Patil, would you like to answer that? What are your concerns in this whole episode? Is it the lack of transparency?
I am only concerned that the collegium had taken decision on 12th of December. Can Chief Justice say that it was not on merit? First thing. And who has given this arbitrary power to the Chief Justice to cancel that decision and select two people? Therefore, the merit was considered, candidates were selected, and what happened thereafter to change this, the Chief Justice should tell it to the public. One thing. Second thing, when collegium sits and take decision, it is always taken on merit, not on seniority. Seniority, as my brother just said, we are only on merit, and if there is merit, if there was no merit on that 12th December selection, then why did you select? So there is something extraneous which we don't know, that why that list is cancelled and new list is prepared only because one judge was added in the collegium.
Yes, I want you to respond, Justice Patil, in the context of what we saw pretty much a year ago, when 4 senior-most judges after the Chief Justice of India held a press conference. It was unprecedented. There, the question was that they raised was about which cases were being given to which judge in the Supreme Court, and they found that arbitrary, etc. Now, we fast forward to 1 year. One of the 4 judges who held that press conference is Chief Justice of India, and yet questions are being raised.
That is what I was telling. We congratulated then 4 judges for bringing out the truth, what is truth in the Supreme Court procedure. Therefore, we were on TV and said that if the Chief Justice of India then, यदि उनको कुछ शर्म है तो resignation दे, ऐसा हमारा कहना था. Now this Chief Justice, who was party to that press conference, is now changing his own selected people and taking new people, new judges, selecting new judges. We are surprised, and therefore that praise, when he took press conference, we take it back, and he should explain why he has done this.
All right. Very interesting points coming there on a contentious issue. These issues keep cropping up in the Supreme Court, which is disconcerting because that is the one institution that all Indians have complete faith in. Thank you so much, Justice Gupta and Justice Kolse Patil, for joining us today and taking us through some of these issues and voicing your concerns frankly as well.